Okay, hi. Throughout the years, just like everyone, I've had my fair share of hobbies and interests. Something that has always maintained my interest is rhythm games, specifically when they're played at a high level. The topic for today's video will be Guitar Hero. Ever since I was like 10, I've always thought being able to full combo hard songs and not miss any notes was the coolest shit in the world. Today we will be covering how I grinded to improve my skills to be able to obtain my first somewhat notable score. This is the journey to Jordan.
Chapter 1 Rhythm Game Come Up.
This section was initially going to cover in detail my history with Clone Hero / Guitar Hero to provide a little bit of context for how much experience I have with the plastic guitar. I'm still going to be doing that here, but I will be condensing the yapping heavily. So for a quick recap, I stumbled across Guitar Hero 3 for the PS2. I couldn't have been more than 8, 9, 10 years old. The thing is though, when I first ever played the game, I could not get the hang of the plastic guitar, so I was one of those PS2 controller goblins on the game. I was going to go in more detail about how playing like this works, but we'll save that for another day. We're just going to skip around to the good parts. So fast forward a couple years after hitting my peak as a controller goblin, I stumbled into the rabbit hole that low-key seems inevitable, and the rabbit hole that I'm referring to is high-level Guitar Hero on YouTube. Some of the old classics that stand out to me are Guitar Hero Phenom playing Through the Fire and Flames, the Solar series, and then even Beverly 2 at 9 years old playing Through the Fire and Flames. I think it's so wild that 9-year-old Beverly 2 in this video still has a fucking higher Through the Fire and Flames score than me in this day and age. It kind of has me fucked up, but that's not the point. I remember stumbling across these kind of videos and it really piqued my interest with the game again. So it's worth mentioning between the controller goblin era and the early plastic guitar era, I think I learned how to play the real guitar. And so, one's a real guitar, one's a plastic guitar. Some of the motions, some of the interactions, they kind of transfer over. So I think the plastic guitar was a little less foreign to me when I tried it this time around. And I was able to get pretty decent. I got to the point where I could tap the Through the Fire and Flames intro, it was nothing wild. After kind of hitting my peak on Guitar Hero 3 on the PS2, I used to do this thing, it was kind of fucking stupid. It's kind of funny though, I would watch these Guitar Hero 3 customs on YouTube. I always struggled with getting the cool shit working. So Guitar Hero 3 on PC, the customs, getting the guitar to work, I could never get any of that shit figured out. So I would just watch the videos of the bots playing the custom songs, and I would play with an unplugged guitar and pretend like I was playing, just play along with it. And that isn't horrible in itself, but I would share my screen on Skype of the bot playing and then have my camera on of me absolutely shredding with a fucking unplugged guitar. That's the bad part of it. Playing along unplugged with a YouTube video for fun, no big deal. But when you're flexing, that's when we have a problem, bro. I was like 12 years old, all right? I'm coming clean. I hate to break it to you, but in those Skype calls in 2014, 2015, bro, when I was playing Guitar Hero and fucking FCing Solar 6, I hate to break it to you. My guitar was unplugged. That's it. I'm saying it. I'm coming clean. It was unplugged, all right? But yeah, I used to do that shit. And believe it or not, that's not a solid way for improving at the game. So when Clone Hero eventually released and I became aware of its existence, my unplugged plastic guitar skills did not transfer too well to Clone Hero. I played Clone Hero pretty casually on and off for the last couple years. The peak that I reached in 2022 was a -4 on Cliffs of Dover. Nothing crazy, but this was also when I used to take a shit ton of Adderall. So my Adderall come up ritual would be play Clone Hero for 20 minutes, bro. I loved getting lit and playing Clone Hero. So yeah, we hit a -4 on Cliffs of Dover. That was about my peak before the 2023 grind started.
Chapter 2 The Vision.
So the last chapter gives you some insight on my history with the plastic guitar, and this chapter is going to explain the vision I had earlier this year. After years of watching countless high-level scores, and even FCing some of the hardest songs out there with my unplugged guitar, I decided that something I wanted to do this year was grind for what would be considered my best full combo by a long shot. I ended up picking the song Jordan because I wasn't quite ready to tackle the notorious Guitar Hero 3 song Through the Fire and Flames, which was definitely a prevalent option for me. I've never played the game personally, so take this point with a grain of salt, but I have heard Jordan be referred to as the Through the Fire and Flames of Guitar Hero 2. Just kind of like that one hard, notorious song that everyone wants to be cracked at, Whether that's true or not though, Jordan was the perfect song for my grind. The song consists of some quite difficult sections that in my eyes contained a perfect balance of difficulty along with a reasonable level of obtainability. I started grinding the song pretty casually at first. My main focus at the start of this year was practicing Clone Hero in general every single day for at least 20 minutes. I remember reading some shit about if you do something at least 20 minutes a day for 365 days, you'll be better than 99% of the population that does it. So I was just trying to get the consistency and get the reps in. I would do Jordan runs for fun here and there, but mainly just to trim down the miscues account since the FC was nowhere in sight. Since grinding for FCs for Clone Hero specifically was pretty new to me, I thought it would be extremely beneficial for me to talk to someone who does have a bit more experience in this field. And oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, does homeboy have a lot of experience.
Chapter 3, CarnyJared.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to content creator, Twitch streamer, YouTuber, Clone Hero legend, CarnyJared. He's easily one of the best players out there. I don't think there's any global rankings or some shit, so it's hard to say. And you know, everyone has their own styles and whatnot, but it is not arguable this dude is fucking cracked. Some of his accomplishments include, but are not limited to, the first ever Soulless 6 FC, which if you don't know was an April Fool's song that was supposed to be a complete joke, was not supposed to be possible whatsoever. Like, look at one of the sections from the song. Like, look at this shit, bro. Other achievements include Supernovae, first ever 100% FC, Soulless 5, second ever FC, Freebird 300% speed FC world record, Mega Wub Wub 125% speed first ever. This one's fucking cracked. You should check this one out. This is just so much technique and skill being displayed. And one that's relevant to our cause, Jordan 230% FC world record. This is so unreal to me, bro. I've been grinding Jordan for hours, days, weeks, months. And to see someone full combo it 2.3 times faster than I've barely been able to do, like, it's unreal to me. It really shows, it really puts into perspective that there's levels to this shit. So yeah, bro, with a world record like this, there's no better individual I could speak to get some insight into Clone Hero in general, and then, you know, Jordan specifically. Thank you a bunch to CarnyJared for not only taking the time to sit down with me and answer some of my questions, he was also just a pleasure to talk to. I was pretty nervous going into this. I wasn't sure how my social skills would be able to hold up in an interview context because this was pretty unfamiliar territory for me. But yeah, I ended up having absolutely nothing to worry about. Shout out to CarnyJared for giving me more than I could ever ask for. He was a pleasure to talk to, and his insight helped me out a bunch with this project. And if you've never seen his stream, he's so fucking funny, bro. It's rare we come across someone so cracked but also so funny. You should totally check him out.
You want me to put my cam on, by the way?
Up to you, completely up to you.
Yeah, I can put it on here. Let me just change my shirt real quick.
Were you rocking the no shirt?
No, but I had on just like a sweaty ass shirt. I was just playing Clone Hero in it, so
Where
I was like, I might as well change it here. But
hey, there he is.
all right, man, what's up?
So yeah, before we get into it, the questions I wanted to ask you, it was just bait. I was wondering, how much would it take for you to FC Jordan on 200% with my name at the bottom?
Oh yeah, oh, okay. Hey, dude, hey, you pay me a nice pretty penny. Maybe I'll make it happen for you. You know?
Yeah, I'm trolling though. No shot.
Yeah.
So like I said, I was a little nervous for this. I started with my little troll Jordan inquiry, and then with no introduction or segue at all, I just go into asking questions. Whoops, my bad. So the first thing I wanted to ask you, how long have you been playing Guitar Hero / Clone Hero?
All right. So when I was like 6 years old, my older brother Justin got Guitar Hero 2 for the PS2, and I played it, and I wanted to play it so bad, and he would never let me play the game, and like, cause he was like protective over his PS2 and stuff, but like, basically it was back then, and then I ended up getting my own PS2, and I was just like addicted to the game. And I played it like a lot until I was like 9 or 10 years old. And then I kind of stopped playing it for a little while. And then when I got into high school in like my sophomore year, probably around when I was like 16 years old, I got a laptop and I downloaded GH3 PC on the laptop, and I started playing customs, which I always wanted to do.
Right.
So all right, so if we're talking if I'm trying to simplify it here, I played when I was like 6 to 9 years old, and then from when I was 16 years old on, and I'm like 23 years old now. So
Right. So you might be the exception. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think someone just reaches the skill level you're at just randomly. Were there any inspirations that you had that led to you deliberately wanting to, you know, improve and set scores?
Oh yeah, totally, dude. Yeah. No, I looked up to a lot of the older GH crowd back in the day. Like, well, first of all, I don't know, how familiar are you with like the older GH crowd?
Who we talking?
Like back in like the 2007 days.
I started following around like Soulless 3 era.
Okay.
Like the
All right,
the transitioning to Clone Hero.
Do you know Beverly too?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so Beverly too, dude. I was obsessed with watching that kid when I was younger, and I
Same.
wanted to, yeah, I wanted to be like that kid, dude. I wanted to know everything about him. Like it was crazy. Um, he was just so good at the game, and I just wanted to be that good at the game. But yeah, so he was kind of my inspiration back then, and I played a lot of console because of him. And then, dude, when I found Danny Johnson,
Yep.
Guitar Hero Phenom, that was it, man. Seriously. After that, he took the #1 spot. He was that fucking guy for me. Like dude, oh my god, I looked up to Danny so much. I still do. He's like an awesome guy. And but then the guy that really got me into GH3 PC had to be Toby. Once I actually realized somebody could be better than Danny Johnson, I didn't think anybody could be better than Danny Johnson. But then I found Toby, and I was like, dude, this guy's insane. And then Toby kind of took that position for me. So then, he kind of got me into GH3 PC and got the ball rolling, I think.
While on the topic of grinding and improvement, is there any specific stuff that goes into practicing? Do you like spend any certain amount of time playing, or is there certain sections or patterns you try to work on?
Yeah, totally, dude. When I'm practicing, well, first of all, practicing is huge. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to get good at the game, you have to practice. That's where basically all the improvement happens. Like 95% of it. I'll go into practice, and if I'm learning a song brand new that I want to grind, I'll take all the hard parts, and I'll take them into practice, and I'll slow them down as much as I need to be able to hit them. And then I just gradually speed them up from there until I get to full speed, Because, like, let's say you have to, slow a section down to, 50%. That's fine. Like, that's totally fine. You just play it, you learn how it feels on your fingers, and then you take it up another 5-10%, play it, adapt it a little bit faster, and then you just keep gradually taking it up, and then eventually you're at full speed, and you know what I mean? That's kind of the process.
I've spent a good amount of years playing both Osu and Clone Hero, and
Oh,
it's such a
nice.
nerdy thing to find interesting, but I always find myself noticing how some people's hands just straight up move differently. Like Danny Johnson, for example.
Yeah,
Like that guy has the fastest hands I think I've ever seen.
for real, man. And the old tapping methods, they look so weird, dude. They look, like, honestly, they're really cool. Like, retro.
Exactly. But the question I'm most eager to ask you is, do you do anything outside the game to work on hand speed / stamina, or is it just something that comes over time, getting reps in?
Not really. I don't think I really do. I don't know. Okay, some of the faster players that are faster than me may do something, but really the only improvement that could happen is in the game. Like playing something as fast as you can until you can't anymore, and then you take like a minute to rest, and then you just keep doing that and keep doing that and keep doing that, and then your body will adapt and you'll get faster. But
Right.
like I won't lie, I definitely do tap my fingers on tables and stuff like that. I don't know if it does anything, but I don't know. Maybe it's just a habit. Like I just, tap my fingers like that on tables and stuff, like. So
Getting some
yeah,
extra reps in.
yeah, I guess.
Another thing I'm curious about is how much do nerves factor in for you in the context of going for like a really hard FC grind? Would it be like 50% gameplay, 50% dealing with nerves? What would the split be like for you?
Um, Definitely not 50-50. It's a lot more weighted on the gameplay,
Right.
but nerves definitely do come into account. Um, I still remember the first couple of grinds I did on Clone Hero, like Misadventure and Extends Levant. Those are the first two songs I FC'd on stream. I got so nervous every time I got past Madverse on Misadventure. I literally had to collect myself afterwards. Like, and the nerves were absolutely the reason why I missed. Nerves made me not FC Misadventure for a couple of weeks. Because I would get past Madverse, the hardest part, and then my hands would get so tense, my body would get so nervous, I would just do the wrong thing every single time. And then when I got past the hard part for the first time in Extends Levant, I literally was losing my vision because I was so nervous. It's not even a joke. I was literally like, my vision was blacking out because I was so nervous. But
Damn.
I held it together and I was able to actually get that one. But dude, if I had not have FC'd Extends Levant that run, I think I would have actually had a meltdown. I like seriously, nerves are huge. But okay, so I've definitely gotten better at managing my nerves. Since then, like I'm able to control myself better. But with each new FC I go for, the nerves definitely never go away. They never do because each new FC is like a new accomplishment, like a new higher tier of accomplishment for me. So I'm still nervous and I'm still super excited to get the FC. So,
Right.
um, so all right, but to put a percentage on it, I would say I would say it's 90% of the gameplay, 10% of the nerves on an FC run. And I think that that's a pretty large percentage on the nerves. I think the nerves do play a pretty big part.
Are there any ways that to get better at handling your composure into combat choking, or is it just something you got to get used to?
You just got to get used to it. You just got to keep grinding and you got to experience it enough times until
You eventually
you know
don't miss.
and well, yeah, until you eventually don't miss exactly because there will come a point where you get past the hard part so many times and your body gets nervous and makes you miss. There's going to be that time where you get past that hard part and then you think in your head, all right, I just gotta control myself here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I gotta stop being nervous. And you get kind of used to getting past the hard part.
Yeah.
And then it like compounds over time. And then when you get to a part that's very nerve wracking, you can kind of control yourself better.
So one of my favorite things about grinding rhythm games is the straight dopamine you get after finally achieving a desired score.
Mhm.
I've seen a handful of your scores / reactions. However, the reaction to your Soulless 5 FC is probably my favorite. I just love how loud you yell and your hands are literally shaking. The reaction really shows how much went into grinding that score. Are you
Yeah.
able to provide some insight into how you're feeling after that, or how you're feeling after any other big scores in general?
Oh, dude, after Soulless 5 in particular,
Yeah.
I mean, all right, well, first of all, with any grind, I do really put my heart and soul into it. So,
Mhm.
like, when I finally do finish it, it really is like a big celebration. Like, I'm sure like,
You can see
when
it.
when you finally finish a grind, I deserve to go bonkers for a minute. Like, I have so much energy pent up. I gotta explode it all out for at least a minute, and I gotta let that energy go somewhere. Because if I bottled that up, oh man, I wouldn't be able to. Like, I'd probably have a heart attack. But with Solus 5 in particular, dude, I went through so many brutal chokes with that grind. That was like kind of like my first breakout FC. I was so close to FCing it like a year before I finally got it. And I
Damn.
just I just was not able to finish it out. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't control myself. Every time I choked it, I had like a meltdown, like literally. So when I finally got it, yeah, that's definitely the most extreme reaction I've ever had to FCing something. Like I couldn't do anything else but just yell at the top of my lungs.
I saw Mama Bear came down. Everyone was
Yeah.
waiting for it, huh?
Dude, my whole family knew. They knew I was going for it. They knew, dude, because like, so this is like something you wouldn't see on stream, but every time I would choke a song on stream, I used to yell so loud that you'd hear it throughout the whole house. So
Mhm.
like, I would get up and walk away from the stream, and then I'd walk into the living room, all like fucking fired up, and I'd be like complaining to my parents and stuff. I'd be like, I've been going for this song. I just choked it right at the end. I'm so mad. And so like my family knows, dude. When I finally get one, I don't live with them anymore, but when I used to, yeah, dude, they celebrated with me. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that shit. It was very wholesome. So speaking of desired scores and whatnot, do you have any score that you would consider your greatest or proudest achievement?
I think my proudest achievement would have to be Solo 6.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's probably not my best FC anymore. But I definitely think it's my proudest achievement because just the kind of like the weight that song carried for so many years, and it really was like my dream FC. It was my absolute end game dream FC, and when I finally got it, it was kind of just unbelievable. I really couldn't believe that I'd actually gotten like my dream FC. Um, and then I had to think of another dream FC. Then at that point, I got to still go for that ultimate goal. So yeah, I think Solo 6 is my proudest achievement.
Yeah, you literally FC'd the impossible there. Do you
Yeah, I guess.
have like anything in mind right now?
Yeah, honestly, ever since Solo 6, in the back of my head, the new Dream FC has always been Through the Fire and Flames at 200.
Damn.
That's kind of been the dream since then. And I'm finally starting to work on it. I finally think I'm like capable of doing it. So we'll see where that goes. I don't know. That's gonna be brutal, but
That'll be so nuts. Is the record still, what is it, like 165?
165, yeah.
God damn. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing that for
Thanks.
sure. So I recently got my first FC that wasn't some baby shit like slow ride.
Okay,
I got Cliffs of Dover on normal speed. And ever since I got that, I've been wanting to ask you, how fast do you think you could do it on? My guess is 400%.
Nah, not 400. That's too fast. But
No?
although I don't know, what's the world record? Do you know? Because I don't actually know.
I can look real quick.
See if you can find it. Because I really don't know. I'm trying to think. Probably 300. 400. I mean,
I see
maybe.
a 265 from Randy.
265. I'm trying to think of what the really tough points in that song would be. I mean,
I feel like the strumming would be ass more than anything.
yeah, it could probably go up closer to 400 than most people would expect. It could probably go up to 300 or 350. Just thinking of it off the top of my head.
So real quick, we're going to be going on a bit of a tangent, a taco tangent, if you will. So, when I heard this, and then especially after watching back the footage, my ears had been perked up, bro. And now Jared didn't say specifically that, he could FC Cliffs of Dover on 300 to 400%. He said it could get a lot closer than you'd expect. And that in itself, I don't know. I just had to take a look for myself and see what Cliffs of Dover on 300% speed looks like. Now, like I said, Cliffs of Dover on normal speed is one of my only full combos, so I wasn't expecting much. I was more so just curious what this shit would look like. I tried it, and I was like, oh no, for sure. Like, oh no, without a doubt, I could for sure see Cliffs of Dover getting FC'd on 300 to 400% speed. Like, no, like it could totally get a lot closer than you'd expect. Those grace notes are hell. And it had me wondering, I've seen him do this. Dude, I thought it was a troll method, but it's actually such a disgustingly advanced high-level technique. It looks so troll, but it's called taco strumming. I don't know if he invented it. I don't know who the f came up with this. But this shit's actually so disgustingly hard. I was just a little curious, so I tried it out. I was like, how am I hitting Cliffs with over 300% speed, bro? What do I got, to taco strum it? It blows my mind how you can alternate strum with your elbow like this. This dude strums with his elbow like it's a third fucking hand. It's actually ridiculous. So on my behalf, next time you see this dude streaming, try to get him to taco finesse Cliffs of Dover 300. I'm just super curious to see what he could do with it.
But I can't really think of it. But dude, that is sick that you got Cliffs of Dover though, seriously, because I actually really remember grinding Cliffs of Dover back on console. And if you want it bad enough, from the point that I got Cliffs of Dover to the point where I started like tapping stuff, it really was like not that far away. Like complex tapping stuff. So dude, you're on the right track. Seriously, keep it going, and I promise you, like, you will improve at such a fast rate you will not even believe it.
I appreciate it. I'm so shit with nerves. I missed the last like 7 notes like 3 different times, but it could have been a lot worse.
It happens. You got to go through it.
Yeah.
Chapter 4, Solo C.
Despite Solo C coming after Solo B in the actual song, we're going to be talking about Solo C before, just because it was kind of in the works and I kind of had it figured out before Solo B, but like not really. I'll tell you what I mean. So Solo C is quite a straightforward section visually, but Solo C ended up being the section that I struggled the most with probably. The difference between Solo C and Solo B is with Solo B, it took me mad long to even understand what the fuck is going on my screen. And with Solo C, I understood what was going on, but my hands just weren't fast enough to keep up. My hand's gassed though. It took me months of building up hand speed / stamina just to even keep up with the section, and becoming consistent at it was a completely different story. At the beginning of the grind, I could barely do 1 run of Solo C without my hand cramping up. It took months of Clone Hero in general, along with reps on reps of Solo C, until I finally became comfortable with the speed and could begin tackling the section with more intent now. Solo C kind of consists of 4 little subsections, I guess you could call them. So that's how I'm going to be talking about them here. I'm going to be referring to them as C1, C2, C3, and C4. So starting with C1, which I would consider to be the easiest self-proclaimed subsection of this overall section, it's very straightforward. It consists of these ascending and descending patterns. If I'm messing up any of the terminology, please feel free to correct me / enlighten me down below. So they're mainly ascending and descending trips, and sometimes quads. This portion appears fast and somewhat intimidating initially, but the smallest optimization to my left hand allowed me to hit these patterns a lot easier, essentially just anchoring the farthest note to the left, fretting the next 2 notes, and then kind of sliding off. I'll be coining this motion that's probably been known for the last 10 years, and I'll be calling it quack triple slide. Now, C2, I think, was the second hardest subsection of solo C for the majority of the grind, but towards the end, I think it became the hardest one for me. Just because the sheer speed behind this section, it's probably up there for the fastest notes in the whole song. I don't know, don't quote me on it. I don't got the notes per second written down just like that, you know? This is actually 0.1 notes per second slower than solo B. Half the comments are gonna be that. So yeah, it starts with a little ascending triple, and then I think you call these trills. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. It's just really fast triples, but I kind of thought they were trills the whole time. And so it led to a lot of confusion with my method. And to be fair, I didn't really have a method. Like, I didn't spam. I wasn't like spamming buttons, but I don't know. I was kind of fucking going for it. I was kind of going for it with my wrist, and that kind of just became the method for me. But then also the strum section at the beginning was a fucking bitch for me. I don't know why. Like, adrenaline, nerves, I could not just, it's like a 1-2 strum, a hammer on, and then a 1-2 strum. I could not hit it like that. I felt the need, I was strumming it like there was so many more fucking notes there. So when I would miss at this part, I think I would just straight overstrum. And there is room to overstrum because there's a lot of notes after. But I had so many misses here where I was like fucking strumming like it's 20 notes per second right there, you know? I hate missing that one, bro. C3 I would consider the second easiest self-proclaimed subsection of this overall section. Wow, that is a fucking mouthful. Now, I don't know how well my Guitar Hero / Clone Hero terminology can get me through explaining this one. Starts off, there's a lot of yellows, there's some blues, and then there's that orange. That orange there is a little tricky, huh? And then there's a lot more yellows and blues, and then boop, 2 oranges. Oh shit. But C4 was a bitch for most of the grind. C4 just has these mainly ascending and then 1 descending. What is it, trips and quads? So this ended up being a pretty prevalent issue where I was kind of able to copy and paste my findings and implement them into different spots. I've always been way better at hitting descending patterns, the ones that go from orange to green, opposed to the ascending ones that would go from green to orange. I've always been way better at hitting descending ones. It feels way more natural. I can hit them way more cleanly. I've been playing so much this year, so I've gotten so much better at hitting ascending patterns. That's something I've really tried to do is, you know, make sure I'm just not playing the things I'm good at, play the things I'm bad at, whether it's strumming parts, chords, patterns I struggle with. I'm trying to play everything so I improve all aspects of my game, not just excel at one different part. Like, you can only FC so much by only being able to hit descending patterns, you know? I would say for me personally, at least, the further down I go on my fingers, so my pointer finger compared to my pinky finger, I have less speed, less control, less mobility. I feel like that could apply to most people because, you know, they're smaller fingers, they're used less. So shit that I can hit with like my middle finger, I probably can't hit with my pinky kind of thing. And where I'm getting at is I really struggled at hitting the ascending patterns with my pinky involved. I was able to do it, but it was really inconsistent. And so a fix for me that I was able to use in a lot of other places was just shifting my hand down and tackling the triple patterns with just my first 3 fingers. This not only let me hit these patterns more consistently, but I also felt an improve on my ability to hit these kind of patterns. I felt more fluidity in the motions, and I could really feel the emphasis on individual notes. The end of C4 was kind of a pain. You hold down green, it has these really fast reds, and then it has like, what the fuck even is this? What do you even call this?
Chapter 5, Solo B.
I think visually Solo B might be the hardest section in the song, but once I was finally able to figure out a consistent method that just made sense to me, I became way more consistent at it than Solo C. I actually did ask Jared for some tips on Solo B. I figured it would be a little more relevant here than with the other questions. So yeah, it's been good talking about general Clone Hero stuff. However, I do have one specific question related to Jordan. So you're still the Jordan world record holder, right? 230%?
Yeah, 230.
Which is insane, by the way. But do you have any tips for Solo B? That's kind of what I'm struggling on at the moment.
Solo B. Well, what speed do you want to go for? Normal speed?
Normal speed.
What kind of guitar do you have?
Wii Les Paul.
A Wii Les Paul with a Raffnet?
Yes, sir.
Man,
so you reckon that I oil it up, lube it up, and
I mean,
go for it?
Honestly, listen, other people wouldn't be this open with you about this, but the world is your oyster with methods, man. on that song with that guitar, if you wanted to, I'll tell you what, if you wanted to hit Solo B every single time, anchor the button you have to anchor, you know what I mean? And then the next 2 notes, you just spam trips.
Right.
like this. Just the next two. Dude, if you want the FC that bad, that will get it for you. Now, I mean, if you want to do it cleanly, slow it down, and I would say learn how to slide 2-finger triangles, like
Okay.
like 3 notes, like an orange, blue, orange type of thing. Solo B is filled with those. You can mix that little tapping. Here, look, this is what you do. You just take 2 fingers on whatever 2 buttons you have to do it on, and then you do like a descending trip, but then you slide this finger back. It's just like that. It's like a motion like that. Solo B is filled with those. So if you learn that, and then you figure out the fretting, you got to fret like a trip zig as well, you'll be able to take that song up super high, dude.
All right, I appreciate it a bunch. That's kind of like the one I'm going for. I think that's the best one I could get for right now.
Nice, dude.
I happened to get a run past solo B way before I was even doing runs, way before I even knew how to hit solo B. I was able to finesse it by just spamming the fuck out of the guitar like he said, but I really didn't want to have this in my FC run. I just wanted to learn how to hit the section properly and cleanly. I just think actually learning how to hit the section would help with my improvement way more than just spamming the fuck out of it. So let's go over the actual section, my progression, and the methods that we went through. The initial way I tried to tackle this section was with the boomer strats. I don't know what this kind of tapping would be called. I'll just be referring to it as boomer tapping. Basically, just hold down one note and tap the fuck out of the other note. I believe these are trills, correct me if I'm wrong, but for ones like this, where they're very short and they jump around a lot, I don't know, boomer tapping it just felt like the most. It didn't feel clean. I went through so much trial and error trying to figure out this section. I tried to alt tap it. You're basically alternating between your left hand and your right hand. Yeah, I don't know. It just felt kind of forced. Just same with the boomer tapping shit. Same thing with rake tapping, where it's basically the same thing, but you're using 2 fingers with your right hand. I just couldn't get those strats to work. And then eventually, bro, we had a fucking breakthrough in the case. I like to refer to it as the great triangular discovery of 2023. If you take a close look at these, bro, they're just fucking triangles. It took months of playing this shit and trying to boomer tap it before I just paused and I just looked at it and I was like, oh my goodness, they're triangles. When it's just playing, it looks like a jumble of fucking notes. And so this was a step in the right direction. So I tried doing what Jared said about sliding, blah, 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 but I was doing it wrong. I was hitting one note and then I was sliding in both directions and it didn't feel right. It felt like the most. And the one section I was sliding against the neck rather than with it. So I was kind of starting to bruise my finger a little bit. It took many months of trying to figure out any way to get this shit to hit consistently, but we eventually struck oil, bro. I want to give a shout out to Guitar Hero Andrew. It's not even him playing, bro. It's him breaking down a Psy playing. But shout out to him. He literally says the same shit Jared told me, but his video really made it click for me. Once I was able to understand what I was supposed to do and what the method was, it was just a matter of building up the speed and building up the muscle memory. So after establishing a proper method for this section, it only took about a week or so to go from 30% speed, 35% speed to the point where I was able to hit it full speed. Yes.
The final chapter. The FC.
I promise I'm almost done with my yapping. If I may, though, I want to mention a couple more things that I didn't want to dedicate an entire chapter to. Oh, wait, I actually just went and double-checked with the higher-ups, and it appears that I'm actually allowed to yap for as long as I want since this is my video. But don't worry, we're almost there. So the low-key final boss of this grind was the solo F to bridge transition for no reason, too. Compared to the stuff earlier in the run, I really had no business struggling this much with this part. It was just kind of an awkward sequence for me. So these orange strums towards the end of solo F, they're just really fast, faster than I gave them credit for, I guess. Following up on the finger point that I brought up earlier, this is a prime example where I could not hit this part if my pinky was on orange, so I had to shift my hand down, and it also helped to hold down blue with my middle finger and then hit the oranges with my ring finger. So this part also gave me a lot of problems. This is the end of solo F transitioning into bridge. You have a descending triple, an ascending triple, and then a descending triple straight into the strumming pattern of bridge. Fortunately, I invented quack triple slide. After I implemented quack triple slide here, oh boy, it was raps.
Traps.
While on the topic of misses, I thought it would be extremely interesting if I tracked exactly where I missed in every single run. It would be very troll of me if I were to do all this yapping and then proceed with showing you 300 plus individual runs. So we're gonna kind of speed run it. I have a 10th grade math education. You should have seen the graph that I had going before this. I literally made it in Paint. Shout out to 3 Swings LLC for helping me chef this up. So one issue I ran into is when I was doing these runs, I was keeping track of the misses live in the moment because it was a lot easier doing that than going back and watching a whole VOD and getting all the misses from that, right? Not all the runs were streamed, so I was just watching them back in Windows Media Player or whatever. And an issue I ran into is they have a rewind 10-second button, but then a fast forward 30 seconds button. So when I went back to get the exact note values, I ended up coming up 40 runs or so short. My theory is since I was fast forwarding in increments of 30, I probably missed a bunch of runs where I missed in the first 50 to 100 notes. So I'm about to give you the number of misses for the individual sections, but just kind of take it with a grain of salt, especially the earlier sections. We're just going to say give or take for all of them, you know, but it should be close enough, right? Verse 1, I missed roughly 38 times. Chorus 1, I missed roughly 21 times. Verse 2, I roughly missed 22 times. Chorus 2, we were popping off. If we got to chorus 2, it was a run. Only 9 runs, give or take, ended to chorus 2. Another topic we'll tie in right here was what I like to call Clone Hero / Guitar Hero superpowers. I think this was the reasoning for a lot of my misses in the early sections. I just could not help myself from reading chat or just continuing to keep freaking yapping. So I would miss so many times in the early sections just because I wouldn't shut the fuck up. But yeah, I knew it was wild to see players, you know, entertaining and talking to chat the whole time while FCing the hardest songs out there. It's obviously crazy, right? But I don't know. I have a newfound appreciation for the streamers and the grinders doing this shit. Guitar break, I missed roughly 47 times, bro. Solo A, I missed roughly 38 times. Solo B, I roughly missed 101 times. Solo C, I roughly missed 49 times. Solo D and Solo E, by some miracle, we managed to get past them without a single miss. It's probably due to those sections having 10 notes apiece. Solo F, I missed 5 times. And bridge, we had 1 miss in.
Oh my god.
That basically sums up everything I wanted to talk about. At the end of the day, the main purpose of this video was to entertain. I'm no up-and-coming Clone Hero hotshot. I really enjoy playing the game and improving at it, and I'm very fond of the community and its members. I don't know, bro. I really lacked the grit and the tenacity for shit like this. It was getting very annoying towards the end, especially a song like Jordan where it's such a snooze fest in the beginning, and I don't really have that dog in me, all right? I might just be a pussy, but yeah, so this was pretty tough for me, but I'm glad I tried it. I'm glad I got it done. But yeah, on run 372, maybe run 372, maybe it's 340. I don't fucking know. I don't know. On run 300 something, I finally did it, bro.
Exactly.
I have no reason to believe this is not the run. Gamers. Gotta make history. This is it.
my god. Fuck me, bro. Oh my god. I cannot even believe it.
Okay, bye.